Ah, there we go. All right. So, what a morning I'm having. So, hey guys, my last video, not only did it start glitching, but it's gone. It's gone. So, I can't obviously paint him again because he's already got paint on him. I could add some more color to him. So here's the deal. Raw Sienna extremely watered down for the base coat for the face. Cadmium red deep hue for the highlights, like the cheeks and all. And then extremely watered down black. And here's something you guys need to understand. Out of all the colors, black will do this all the time. So anytime you're painting with black, even if you've got a little bit of black mixed in another color, you need to make sure you stir that up because it will settle and clump. So make sure you do that. But that's what I did. I did raw sienna, extremely watered down for the base of the face. Then I followed behind that with cadmium red, deep hue, extremely watered down. And then I did the 5 o'clock shadow on his chin with extremely watered down black. Now, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to move this just a little. And I'm going to hit this with a little bit more red. Oh, that's not enough to... That's okay. I'm just going to kind of add a little bit more to it. Do a little bit more in the cheeks. I'm actually going to add some more red. Okay, now what I did is I did the nose and I did this one cheek. To make sure that everything's matching, I'm going to do this second cheek. I've just had a morning, guys. I have just had a morning. Okay, now that I know that, you know what? I'm not going to add any more color because I think that's doing just fine. That's giving me some color there. Once I put the Howard Feed Wax on, that's also going to brighten it up. So I think that's good. I just wanted a little bit more red in the cheeks. I'm not going to do any more painting. I just wanted to reiterate what we did here, since a lot of it got lost. Not a lot of it, all of it. So I did some cadmium red and the bags under the eyes. Then I did some watered down black, and now I've just added a little bit more to it. Add a little bit more red in here. So yeah, I'm not going to do much more to his face. But to get the face to look like that so far, raw sienna, cadmium red, deep hue, watered down black. And that's how that comes about. And then, once we add some Howard Feed Wax, this face should look pretty close to this face. And once again, on this guy, I went darker than I meant to. But I was also trying to give him a little bit of an antique look. I also, if you notice, down along the edge here, I left some of the dry brush off, so it has kind of a look of wear and tear, so to speak. And then, of course, you know, I like to leave some of the wood natural because that also gives it kind of an antique-ish look. So if you guys have any questions about how I painted this, you can let me know. I'll try to do another video and get it to save properly. It's just been a morning. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to do anything else to the pirate's face. I kind of like the way, I might darken his chin up, but then again, when I put the Howard Feeding Wax on, that should darken it some as well. So I'm not sure if I need to do that. Yeah, I think I do. That's not that, well, nah, I think that's good enough. And then next what I'll do is I'll paint the beard. You know what I'm tempted to do is I'm tempted to paint the beard with the, let's do it. I'll go ahead and do it while I'm thinking about it, just because I'm thinking about it. So why not? Why not just do it? Usually I use the burnt sienna, watered down. I'm going to paint the beard, or the chops, not really a beard. I'm going to paint the chops and the hair with the raw sienna. And then I'm going to paint with the watered down black. I'm always painting at odd, or carving at odd times, and I'm not always paying attention to what I'm doing. So this is a sloppy carve, man. I'm seeing a lot of sloppy cuts on this that I'm not happy with. It's not how I like my stuff to look. But, you know, he's still not a bad carve, I don't think. So paint will fix a lot of it. I need to sharpen some tools because one or two of my tools is not giving me a clean cut. So I need to do some tool maintenance. We as carvers, we like to blame the wood, and it's rarely the wood's fault. A lot of times it's the type of cuts we're making. A lot of times it's the dullness of the edge of the tool. Sometimes we're being too aggressive. And we're just, we're ripping the wood as opposed to carving the wood. Because we're wood carvers, we're not wood rippers. So, I've never painted the hair with raw sienna. So, this is something new. So we'll see how this goes. I think in my mind, it's going to go great. So, I think I've told you guys this before, but if any of you are Paul McCartney fans, watch the movie Man on the Run. It was really good. But, a lot of, they played music in it, and I just reminisced about, back in the day when I was listening to Paul McCartney when it was new. Because yes, I'm a Paul McCartney fan. I'm a Beatles fan. The Beach Boys suck. Because yes, I was, I was so entrenched in my, love of the Beatles, that the Beach Boys music just didn't work for me at all. Truth be told, I hate the beach also. So there you go. So that's how that looks. And you think, ooh, what is he, a blonde? He's not, but we're not done yet. We are not done yet. I'm imagining this working really well. Let's find out. So I'm not going to add any more color to this. I'm going to paint this just like it is. Or should I? Let's do the mustache. Let's do the mustache, see how it looks. And then yeah, it's too thin. I want just a little bit more in there. So I don't know if the mail's come yet. I don't think I've heard the mailman, and I'm expecting a package. I shipped out 2 packages last week, and one of them is getting delivered today, hopefully. The other one got delivered Friday. So I don't know what it is special that I did about what I mailed compared to what something got mailed to me, but it's taken forever. I think, I don't know. I bought some Steve Brown Roughouts. And this is not Steve's fault. It's the Postal Service. But for some reason, my Roughouts went all the way up to Indiana. I could almost even go darker. I think I'm gonna. But now that I've put some on, I got to paint the whole thing so that there's uniformity. So yeah, whether I make this go darker or not, which I'm going to, I need to paint the whole thing because I don't want areas that, you know, don't have the same color. Oh, it sounds like it's windy out. Almost sounds like it's windy out. It's cold here today. We're back at being cold, and I've got the heat back on, which I'm not happy about. And of course, the seasonal battle with the ants is on. We go through a period here, up here in West Virginia, where we get ants in the kitchen for a short period at the beginning of spring. It's just a joy, to say the least. And yes, for those of you wondering, yes, we do have stink bugs. We have stink bugs, we have Asian beetles. All right, now I'm going to darken it up. Ooh, that's an interesting idea. Yep, let's do that. So what I like to do is play around. And I'm going to take some burnt umber and mix that in. So instead of just mixing in more black, I'm going to mix a little bit of color into it and see how that does. Yeah, let's do that. Because I think that might complement that raw sienna better. And I'm probably going to dry brush the beard because, you know, he's an old guy. Nope, not enough. Not enough. I want to see more color. I want to see more color. On a rare occasion, you might add too much color and mess something up. But it's one carving, so, you know, give it a shot, man. Give it a shot. Play with colors. Do a color mix that you haven't done before and see how that looks. That's what, see, there you go. There's that chunk. There's that chunk right there. All right. Let's try this. You comfy, sweetie, huh? She's a good girl. Good girl, Lucy. Yeah. Am I boring you? Am I? You look tired. You might as well just take your nap. All right. Let's try this again and see how it does. Oh, look at that. Isn't that interesting? And really all I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get a base coat that will look good once it's dry brushed. That's my only goal here, is to get a base coat on here that when I dry brush the white, it will really help everything stand out and highlight. A lot of people paint really pretty colors, and I don't mind sometimes some of the colors. Somebody told me one time that the color that I was painting looked dirty. I don't know if you would say that about this, but I do like the darkness of it. Yeah, I like that. I do. I like that. Because that's not as dark as the other wood that I did on the Santa there. But now I don't want to jinx myself, but you can see how wet I'm painting this. But are you seeing a lot of bleeding in the paint? No, you're not. And it's a lot of that is based on how heavy I load up my brush. It also the angle that I'm holding the carving as I'm painting. A lot of little tricks that I've learned. So I like that. Once I hit that with dry brush, I think that's going to work well. And I know you guys are going to go, what are you doing? I'm going to add just a little bit more water just in case. But now you may notice that the chin on this guy is pretty rough. It's not, a smooth chin. If I just very lightly dry brush that, it'll just put a little bit of gray on it to give it some age. And I may not. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows, said the rose. There we go. All right, that's all I got for you guys. I just wanted to give you the information that I meant to give you earlier, and then everything fell apart. So I've got so much more that I need to do to this guy, you know. So I'm not going to do any dry brushing. So yeah, but I think you get the idea. So raw sienna, extremely watered down. And then I did the cadmium red, deep hue, extremely watered down. Probably more than I needed it to be, but watered down extreme. And then, of course, I did the black. So I'm just going to paint this with this. There we go. All right, guys, I'm going to get off here. So raw sienna, extremely watered down. Cadmium red, watered down. Probably more than it needed to be, but that's okay. And then this was black, extremely watered down. And then I actually ended up adding some burnt umber to that. And that's how I got the 5 o'clock shadow and the hair color. And then, of course, that's going to be dry brushed. I don't think I'm going to do anything else to the face. Of course, I got to paint the eyes and paint the pupils. And then just paint the clothes. That's it. I mean, I could take this brown and paint the pants. But, I mean, other than that, I don't think I would use the brown for anything. I have been known to use the, you know, I could, and see, once again, you got to stir it up, man, so that black is mixing in. But I could, what am I doing using a small brush? Give me a big brush, man. I could paint these pants in because it's not that heavy of a color. Yeah, I don't care if I get a little bit of this on the rope. Because this is way too light. Maybe not. But what I could do is I could paint these pants with this color. It's really showing that grain, man. I like that. I like that it's making that grain pop. And then what I could do is I could take, I'd probably take a green. I think that would be the best color to mix in. And then just hit it with some green. So then it's kind of a greenish brown pair of pants. And currently playing in my head is the Uncle Albert song from Paul McCartney. I guess that's the latest thing I heard on the radio. Yeah, so. Yep, green. Need some green. Need some green. All right, let's do that. Let's mix a green. We don't need to. We could have just used a regular old green, but what the heck. Let's kind of make our own. Let's kind of make our own. So it won't be a dark green. And it wouldn't be a dark green anyway because, you know, I'm... when you water it down, it lightens up. But yeah, we're going to go with this. We're going to water this down to an extreme. Because I don't want this color to overtake the color I've already painted. I just want it to kind of mix in it. There we go. All right. Look at that. And now because of the wood grain, it looks like he has a pair of pants that have stripes. Funny. And once again, keep in mind, I'm going to put Howard Feed and Wax on this, so it's going to impact the color as well, just a little. And because air experimentation is always something worth doing. I know, and you guys are thinking, really, Richard? Because all you carved lately is pirates and Santas. But I'm going to leave this fairly light. I'm not going to darken this up any. I'm going to let it stay this light in color and then see how the Howard Feed and Wax impacts it. It's always good to know, man. Always good to know. I like it though. I like the pants. Of course, the shirt, the sleeves on the shirt, I could paint the cuffs and in a color, and then leave the rest of the shirt just plain, or I could just leave the shirt the way it is and paint the vest. Normally I paint the vest green. I'm not going to do that because I got green pants. So I won't paint the vest and the pants green. So I'll probably do a mixture of burnt umber and cadmium red deep hue. But yeah, doesn't it look like he's got a pair of pants on that have stripes? That's funny. That's funny. Yeah. And then the other thing is what am I going to do with the bandana? Am I going to paint the bandana the green that I normally do, or am I going to change the color? And I would say the answer is I'm going to change the color. I would say that is the answer. But that's about it for the pants. I like that they look like they have stripes. That's too funny. I actually like this color. I like the way that came out. So I could do a bandana or a vest in that color. And that was cadmium red, deep hue, the darkish purple. I don't remember the name of it. And then a little bit of black mixed in just to give it some depth. So, yeah. So for the face, actually, you know, yeah, I want to try it. I'm going to put one more coat of the brown on just to see if it... And now when I do this, I'm going to paint over his rope belt. So then it's just painting that, the brown. And that's not cheating, that's strategery. What a fun journey this has been. Not just today, just my whole carving career. It's been a fun journey. Of course, I've been blessed to have a wife that has been 100% supportive of this. That makes a difference. Didn't darken it up that much. I was curious if it would, and it didn't really. It just kind of toned it down just a little, which is, I like that. All right, guys, I'm going to get off here. But once again, raw sienna, extremely watered down. Cadmium red, deep hue, extremely watered down. Probably watered down more than I needed to, but it works because I do layers of color. So that works. If you're impatient and you don't want to put 5 to 7 layers on, then don't water it down quite as much. I had black extremely watered down. And then for the whiskers on the face, I decided to add some burnt umber to that color. So the whiskers on this guy are raw sienna, watered down black, and then adding some burnt umber that gives it that kind of brownish. And then, of course, I'll do the dry brush on top. So he'll end up having dry brush similar to the Santa. And then I painted the same color onto his chin. And then we used this color for the pants, and then we mixed up some green with 2 different shades of green for the pants. But yeah, for the face, raw sienna, extremely watered down. Cadmium red, deep hue, extremely watered down. And you need to choose on how heavy you want to put the red on the nose and the cheeks and how watered down you do it. Remember, the more watered down it is, you can add layers to darken it. Plus, keep in mind, if you use Howard Feed and Wax, the Howard Feed and Wax is going to impact the color of the skin. And then, of course, keep in mind also, very important, crucial to a carving is the placement of the pupils. So, I don't know if you can see that. But I'm thinking probably doing it like that, where he's looking over to the side. Yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to do that. So, there you go. There's the guy with a little bit of the painting done. Let's move him over here where we got a little bit more color or light. Yeah. And I've told folks, for a lot of people, that paint right there is enough. So, he's got a big chin, man. He's got a really big chin. But that's okay. He's a pirate. He's had a rough life. All right, guys, I'm going to get off here. You guys have a blessed day.